So I would like to turn it over to them so that they can introduce themselves more and share with you about our program. Thank you for both of you for being here today.
Hi, everybody. My name is Becky Hornung, and I'm a faculty member at Carthage in social work. I am also the chair of the Department of Social Work, and I am the program director. And so what we're going to do tonight is I'll start out and talk a little bit about the profession of social work, very briefly. We'll talk about employment prospects in the field of social work, what we do, the various ways in which social workers work out in our communities, the curriculum for the social work major, and the curriculum for our new social justice minor. At that point, I'm going to turn it over to Professor Minsky-Kelly, who's also our Director of Field Education and Social Work. And she's going to talk about experiential learning in social work by way of our internships. And then at the end, you'll hear a video from some of our recent graduates of the social work program and their thoughts about their social work education. So the National Association of Social Workers talks about the primary mission of what we do is to enhance human well-being and help meet the basic human needs of all people, with particular attention to the empowerment of people who are vulnerable, oppressed, living in poverty. And so this is a lot about what we do. This is the backbone of who we are. It sort of sets us apart from perhaps some of the other human service disciplines. Social workers are trained to be sensitive to cultural and ethnic diversity. We strive to end discrimination, oppression, poverty, and other forms of social injustice. We promote social justice and social change. So we educate our students not just to think about social change, but to actually find ways to make social change happen so that we create a more equitable society for all people. Next slide. So the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, they calculate job outlook for various occupations. So in 2018, so from the period of 2018 to 2028, they have estimated that the average growth rate for all occupations is 5%. But they project that the profession of social work will grow by 11%, which is more than double the growth rate for all occupations. So where do social workers work? What kinds of environments do we work in? Well, we work everywhere, but generally speaking, we work in government agencies, we work in private nonprofit companies, we work in private for-profit companies. Some of us have our own individually owned private practice. Some of us have our own small business consulting. And then we also work for international non-governmental agencies around the world. Next slide. So what do we do? As I said, we do all kinds of things. This is just a super small slice of what we do in social work. I will say at the bachelor's level, by nature, the Bachelor of Social Work, no matter what school you go to, is what we call a generalist education in social work. So we're not training people in areas of expertise in social work yet. That happens in graduate education. So we prepare social work students to be able to go into all kinds of settings and all kinds of different professions within social work. Some examples, we work in mental health and substance abuse areas as counselors, as advocates, as directors of agencies, as policymakers. We work in schools, and that can be working in specialized programs that are focused on particular populations in schools. If there are kids that are underperforming because of issues of poverty or other things happening at home, or special learning needs, we work in concert with teachers and administrators to help those students be successful. We work in healthcare settings, whether that's hospitals, hospice. Some of our social workers were some of the first healthcare navigators when the Affordable Care Act was first passed. So they helped their clients figure out how to access healthcare. We work in international capacity, mostly in countries where there's high levels of poverty, and all of the associated issues that come with living in high poverty. Social workers work with those folks and those organizations that serve those populations. So we're everywhere. The list is endless. Next slide. So the curriculum for the Bachelor of Social Work at Carthage, students have 3 required courses that are not taught in the social work department. They are political science, a political science course, American government. They take a women and gender studies course, any course. And they also take an economics course and of one of these 2 economic courses that focus on economics and poverty. Then they begin their Introduction to Social Welfare and Social Justice course, along with understanding human behavior in the context of the social environment. In their junior year, they get a little bit deeper into the major by taking ethics and leadership in a multicultural world. They take a policy analysis class and their applied statistics, understanding how to use statistics in the context of health and human services. And then they begin their Introduction to Social Work Practice. In this course, they begin to think about, now, how do I put all of this theory into practice? Their senior year is where they begin their senior internship. And so for both the fall and the spring semesters, students are in their agency 2 days a week or 16 hours a week. And concurrent with their internship, they're also taking coursework. They're taking their research and their advanced practice coursework in the fall. They might also be taking other general education courses in the senior year. And then in the spring, they're taking their integrative seminar. And the idea here with having taken their internship along with their social work courses, their advanced social work courses, is that the internship actually serves as sort of a lab for our students. So the assignments in the social work courses use the internship experience to help them begin to apply some of their skills. And when they're in their spring semester in their integrative seminar course, this is when they do their senior thesis, which is an organizational change project. And so this is a project that they actually design related to a need that their agency has. And they work in conjunction with their supervisors and other folks at that agency to actually create an organizational change project. And then, of course, there are optional electives in social work also that they can take. They don't have to, but they can take as well. Next slide. And so if there are students who are interested in taking some of the core social justice theory courses, but don't necessarily want to go on for the practice and the internship and to get a bachelor's degree in social work, we have a new social justice minor program that's open to all majors. And these students take 6 4-credit courses. The 4 core courses are those listed in social work. And then students can select any 2 other courses from anywhere in the college that in some way focus on social justice. So for example, let's say there's a student who is an environmental studies major or environmental science, but they're interested in understanding environmental justice. This would be a great minor for them to take. Let's say there's a political science major, but they really want to understand their political science major from the lens of social justice. This would also be a great minor for them. So really it can apply to any major at Carthage. And so now I'm going to turn it over to Debbie Minsky-Kelly, our Director of Field, who's going to talk more about the internship.
Okay, sorry that I was muted. Thank you, Becky. I am the Director of Field, and I'm really proud of the field program that we have at Carthage. So the Council on Social Work Education calls field in the social work major the signature pedagogy. So this is such a central part and something so very unique about our major, and that every graduate with a BSW from Carthage will have completed 450 hours of field work over the course of their senior year. You're getting course credit for your field, so 8 total credits for your field work. And as Becky was saying, we really apply what you're doing in the field to your concurrent courses. And it's really this whole kind of capstone of everything you've learned along the social work curriculum. And now you're actually taking on some aspects of a social work role under the supervision of one of our many field supervisors. We're really proud that our list of field sites has grown to over 60 different placements that range in location from Lake County, Illinois, all the way north to Milwaukee. And we generally, a typical senior class size in the Carthage BSW program is about 20 students. So we have about 3 field sites for every student. So generally, there's not really an issue with students being able to find a field site that they are interested in. They more so have trouble making a decision because we have so many really neat opportunities for students that they have a hard time narrowing it down to just one. And so we have field sites in areas of mental health and addictions treatment. We have field opportunities in schools, correctional settings, child welfare settings, in hospitals, in traditional nonprofit agencies such as Boys and Girls Clubs and battered women's programs, and other nonprofits where we refer to as macro type agencies like a United Way or a public health organization, where service delivery is not necessarily the traditional individualized work with clients, but where the clients are really viewed as communities. And they employ a lot of social workers. They address sometimes policy issues. They address community problems from a different perspective. And what's really neat in the senior year is that the students, those senior year major courses are only open to social work majors. So everybody is in their field and collaborating and learning from one another about how social work skills and social work ethics and social work values are applying to different settings. So just the range of settings that our students are in really contributes to the learning for everyone. And then the best way to really hear about the social work major, we felt, was to hear from some of our recent graduates. One thing that we didn't mention previously that I do want to highlight, all of these students in this video that you will be hearing from, they just graduated in 2019. And something really unique about getting a BSW degree is that you can earn a master's degree in 1 year if you have advanced standing, which involves maintaining a certain grade point average and fulfilling all of the general BSW requirements. So you'll see a large number of our students do go on to graduate school because getting a master's degree is very accessible once you complete our program. So this was an impromptu video. There are a few glitches with the sound, but we figure it out, and I think you will hear the message from our graduates as to what some of their varied experiences have been. Allie?
All right. My name is Allie McKillop, and I graduated in 2019. I went straight to grad school at UW-Madison and actually just graduated, well, graduating on Saturday. And throughout the year, I was an intern at a hospital, children's hospital in the NICU, and that's where I'd like to end up in the future.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ashley Cedeno. I also graduated in 2019. After graduating from Carthage, I took a year off, and I actually got a job in Milwaukee working at an institution that works with children 0 to 3 with developmental disabilities. And my goal right now is to go to UWM to get my master's, so I'll be starting that in the fall, and hopefully a long-term goal to work in a hospital and most likely with kids.
Hi, I'm Christine McFarland. I also graduated in 2019. I just graduated May 2nd with my master's degree from George Williams, and I started a position at PSG as an in-home therapist.
Hello, I'm Emily Walden. I also am a graduate of the class of 2019 from Carthage. I went on to grad school to University of Wisconsin-Madison and just finished my Master of Social Work. And my most recent placement was in the Dane County Human Services in the Youth Justice department, so working with young teens.
Hi, my name is Hope Leslie Early, and I took a position with Racing Vocational Ministries as a second chance case manager, working with men and women coming out of prison, reintegrating into society. In the fall, I will enter George Williams to continue my master's degree.
Hi, I'm Laura Smith. I will be graduating from New York University with my master's in social work in a little over a week. I was placed in an internship with middle schoolers in East Harlem, and long term, I'm planning on going into art therapy.
Wow, this is so exciting to see all of our graduates from last year. Well, not all of them, but a great cross-section of our graduates from last year, and to see that you're all doing so many different things with your social work skills. So I really want to hear from all of you. What would you say to a freshman coming into Carthage as to why they might want to consider social work as a possible major for them?
Anybody?
You can go, Hope.
I think that one of the biggest things is because social work is so broad. There's so many things to do, especially like in this year with what has happened in 2020. I know like the health field is getting a lot of attention right now, but so is the helping field. Like social workers do a lot of different things. We are so needed in this time. Like I know for my particular job, like the Department of Corrections, there's not a lot that they can do. There's been a lot of barriers put on them. And in my job, like we've never left our job. Like we've been to work every day. We've been considered essential workers. Like that is what, like that's the heart of social work. Like it's written into our code of ethics. It's what we do. Like, you know, we can't, like with the social distancing, like every day we've been at work, like my coworker and I, we do drive-by visits, like just to let our clients come out and just see us. Like it's how they've remained in recovery. It's how they've, you know, obviously nobody's going to prison right now, but it's how they've been able to stay out for the gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen that have gotten released with nowhere to go. Because a lot of people got released and didn't have anywhere to go. Shelters are closed, you know, with no resources. This is like the heart of social work.
So it sounds like you're just really a presence for clients that still have so much need and that are so impacted by circumstances that are going on right now. Great point.
Yes.
Hope. What are some other thoughts that people have about social work as a major?
Yes.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, so kind of picking back on what Hope was saying, I think the social work major at Carthage is very personalized, and I think that the fact that we have so many opportunities to have different field placements in very different areas of social work was really helpful in me personally deciphering what I wanted to do in the field. Like for me, I worked at the job center, I worked with people experiencing homelessness, like I worked with a variety of people and children and everything, so I think that the social work major at Carthage offers some personalization where it helps us really decipher what we want to do in the future.
Nice, nice. Any other insights?
One of my favorite parts about the social work major is kind of similar to what Hope was mentioning about how it applies to so much. And I think that it's important that even just taking the social work classes, even if you don't go fully through the major, they help with so much more through your daily life, with interacting with other people, growing as a person. And I think that they are the foundation of just developing your character. I think that they've done wonders for me as a person, no matter what field I end up in. So I thank the social work curriculum at Carthage for that.
Wow, thank you so much for that, Laura. And it actually brings me to something that you guys probably don't even know, is that we have now established a social justice minor. within the social work department. So this is something that non-social work majors can get like a piece of the social work program to have with them as a minor, no matter what their major is. And so thinking about like graduating with a business degree and a social justice minor, or an education degree and a social justice minor, there's just so many things where we think that it makes sense for people to kind of think about that. Any final thoughts then any of you have about prospective social work majors or social justice minors?
Yeah, I think not only are the classes opening our eyes to all sorts of different issues and things going on, but the people in the classes, whether that's the professors or the students that you have the class with, being able to hear from so many different unique perspectives, and everyone is there because they want to make the world a better place. That was something really unique that I found in a lot of my classes. And, you know, you get to know the people you're with so well because it's such a tight-knit major. So having that opportunity to have that unique experience, especially at Carthage where the classes are a little bit smaller, just getting to know everyone and know everyone's story and what their passions are. And I think that the class has really brought this out in everyone that I know and everyone that I got to meet through the social work major.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I swear I didn't pay any of them to say all these wonderful things. They just kind of volunteered when I reached out to our alumni. So we're really proud of all of you. You represent us better than we could ever do on our own. So I thank you all for being with us and for helping us to create this video.
So this is Becky again. So I know we're going to be taking some of your questions tonight, but I also just wanted to make sure I leave you all with my contact information. Oftentimes you leave these webinars and you think of questions you wanted to ask. Please feel free to email me. I'm happy to have a conversation. I'm happy to answer questions over email. We can do a phone call. We can set up a Google Meet. Whatever way in which I can help answer your questions and help you make decisions about whether or not social work is the right profession for you, please feel free to contact me.
Thank you to both of you for that wonderful information. For those of you who are watching this evening, please feel free to use the chat feature at the bottom of your screen. But one of the questions that just came in is that, what if I'm a little bit undecided about social work? How would you advise that I get started to figure it out if it's the right thing for me?
I think that's a really great question. And I'd be happy to talk with anybody who is thinking about whether or not social work is right for them. I can help you think through, like, you know, it's not uncommon for me to talk to students who are, say, trying to decide between like psychology and social work, or nursing and social work, or education and social work, or anything else. And so, you know, one of the beautiful things about working at a college like Carthage, where we focus on the liberal arts, is I know a lot about the other programs. And so I know a lot about sort of the different kinds of focuses each discipline has. So I would encourage you to talk to the different department chairs if that's where you're struggling and trying to figure out, you know, is it social work, is it something else? Talk to me, talk to some whoever else, whatever other department chairs of those programs you're interested in. I would also encourage you to go to the National Association of Social Workers website. It's socialworkers.org, I think, but it's just Google National Association of Social Workers. And it's a great website. It tells you about who we are. It talks about our mission, our code of ethics. It talks a lot about the different kinds of jobs we do. So that's a resource for you as well.
Great, thank you. Another question that came through is, how are you interacting with your students remotely during this time?
Debbie, do you want to sort of talk about what we were doing with our seniors this semester?
Yeah, absolutely. So field, you know, I've heard a lot of things on the news about, oh, how science labs and things like that are very difficult to replicate, which I'm sure they are in a remote teaching format. And field placements were another challenge. And I will just say that our field sites stepped up, our students stepped up, our department. We really used all of our social work skills this semester in navigating uncharted waters, which is really what we reflected on, is that this is a core social work skill, is to be able to address unexpected situations that come up. So many of our students had their field sites actually close. And so at some of those sites, our students moved into a different role. So for example, we had a student who was at an elementary school in a very high poverty area, and she wound up transitioning into a role of distributing meals and educational packets to students and families that were in need. And so she actually got to get involved in a whole different type of social work practice than what she anticipated, but it was filling a great need within the community. We had another student who was working at an agency serving elderly and disabled clients who are generally fairly homebound. And previously, this agency was doing home visits. And now this particular student came to Carthage from out of state and was not able to remain in the dorms, and so had to do all very remote types of things. And with the loneliness that many of their clients were facing, the director of his agency really just asked him to make phone calls to check in on clients. And he developed a whole new type of relationship with the clients than the case management that he had been doing all along. And at first he was kind of nervous and felt like it was awkward, but he realized how meaningful and important those check-ins with those clients really were. And then other students who really had no opportunity to return to their field sites, we actually developed a brand new program at Carthage to provide support to other students. We called it Carthage Connects, because the pandemic really impacted different students very differently. And so this group of seniors actually was offering remote peer support to their peers, either through remote video chats like this, or through social media platforms where various resources and discussion boards were developed. So we had no shortage of creative ideas and new experiences for our students, and every single one of our seniors will be successfully completing their field this year. We are very proud to say that.
I would also say that so very early on, from the moment they take our introduction to social welfare and social justice, we faculty in social work, we're social workers as well as teachers, right? We come from the social work profession before we came into social work education. And so we see ourselves as both professors and mentors to our students. So from the very beginning, we get to know them, and we keep an eye on students. We're not the kind of school where a student can sort of sit in the back of the classroom and not participate. And that's also true with online. So we had some students really struggling with internet access, and we just, we do what social workers do. We work with what the student needs, and we try to work with them to make sure they're successful. For some students, that was taking our courses as usual online. For other students where they're having struggles, we develop an individualized plan in working with those students because we want them to be successful. And so some of our students who have struggled are actually, we're going to be working with them over the summer and maybe even into the fall to complete this semester's work, just because of a variety of challenges that they faced.
Great, thank you. What are some things that students find to be the most challenging within the social work major?
That's an interesting question. I think that, we try to do a really good job early on with our students in terms of when they first come into the major. of helping them think about all of the demands that are going to be required of them in terms of their time, right? So while they're still sometimes freshmen, but if we get them as sophomores, we're having them think about their senior year very early. Do you have transportation? How are you going to do work-life balance when you're taking courses and doing your internship? What are some of the other demands on your time going to be, right? So I think one of the biggest challenges is sort of as they get progressively deeper into the major with more and more rigor involved and more demand on their time. I think one of the challenges can sometimes be sort of managing it all. But again, we help them figure it out. And one of the great things that Debbie does as director of field is, she sort of factors those kinds of issues in. So for example, if a student needs a field placement that's closer to campus, she's going to factor that into her decision. She meets with every student individually to find out what they're interested in, what their challenges might be, what their strengths are, and tries to do a real individualized placement. So I would say one of the biggest challenges is sort of time management, I think. Debbie, I don't know what you would say.
Yeah, I would say, because I generally just work for the most part with juniors and seniors. And what I see as one of the challenges, so in the classes leading up to field, we do a lot of, in-depth case studies and a lot of kind of as if social work practice. And no matter how hard I try to prepare students for the difference between reading about a case in a book or in an article and actually meeting a person that has faced these types of adversities that our clients face, and actually, looking into the eyes of that child or looking into the eyes of that mother who is in grief or recovering from trauma, the managing their emotional responses, recognizing the limitations of our systems in being able to help people solve their problems, but then also like marveling at the strength and resilience of the clients that we're serving. And then always, as senior year comes to an end, kind of the termination process and managing the sense of, am I abandoning this person, and recognizing the depth of relationship that really is the client's social work relationship, and kind of figuring some of that out. So, I think that these are really important challenges, and these are the types of things where we are there to support students to help them know that this is like a career-long struggle. I've been a social worker for 25 years, and I can tell you that if I lost that part of the challenge, like if it felt easy to me, then it would be time for me to stop, because our humanity is such an important thing that we bring into our work.
Thank you. Well, I thank everyone for joining us this evening for the information. It was wonderful information. Please know that you can reach out to us individually. We're happy to speak with you, but we simply can't wait to welcome you on campus. So thank you for joining us this evening. Please stay safe and healthy.